Within the morose confines of his time-worn office, Leon Shaw allowed the weight of melancholic thought to pull him deep into the chair's faded upholstery. Once a vibrant cornerstone of Richmond, the office had transmuted into a mausoleum of unsolved cases and neglected dreams, much like Leon himself. The flickering neon light from the sign outside painted his world in eerie, ethereal hues, revealing in each intermittent burst a lonesomely aging detective with cerulean eyes that held storms of unshed sorrow. The delicate scent of aging paper and stale coffee added an extra layer of authenticity to the tableau of his life. A knock, unanticipated yet not entirely unwelcome, echoed through the dim room. "Courier for you," said the husky voice of Joe, the aging janitor. He laid an anonymous envelope on Leon's cluttered desk before vanishing, leaving behind only the echo of his departure. Breaking the seal, Leon discovered a series of letters, hastily written but chillingly precise, detailing the unusual behavior of some local art dealers. The writers remained cloaked in the veil of anonymity, yet their words spoke of a link between the art dealers and the old Henderson Asylum, now a reputed art studio. The name sparked a note of nostalgia within him. The asylum had once been a dark, grim landmark, where the misunderstood and the misfortunate were dispatched, hidden away from the world. It had since been painted over, its unsettling history obscured beneath a veneer of aesthetic respectability. A phrase stood out in the message: strange rituals hidden in plain sight. The unease stirred by those words coiled like a cold serpent in his stomach. He felt the ghostly touch of the past nudge him, the echoing voices of his lost siblings whispering in his ear. "Wade through the darkness, Leon," they murmured. "Seek the light of truth." He could see them now, ethereal figures standing in the corner of his peripheral vision, their spectral presence both a haunting reminder of his trauma and a driving force in his ceaseless pursuit of justice. Haunted but determined, he made a decision. He would plunge into this enigma, meet it head-on, not for the thrill of the chase, but to repay a debt he felt he owed to his siblings. His grip tightened around the anonymous letters, crumpling the corners with resolution. His world, once confined to the graying walls of his office, was expanding once again. He could feel it morphing, stretching into unfamiliar yet tantalizing territories, teetering on the edge of the abnormal. Closing his eyes, he took a deep breath, feeling the familiar throb of impending adventure pulsating in his veins. As this new case dawned upon him, he opened his eyes to a world gradually succumbing to the clandestine, the bizarre, and the unexplained. As he emerged into the dying sunlight, he found himself standing on the precipice of a world that was about to reveal its darkest corners. The city of Richmond, he suspected, was about to show him a side that few had seen, a side woven from the threads of madness and the inexplicable. As Leon ventured into the heart of the art studio, each step echoed through the vast, high-ceilinged halls, once the corridors of madness, now galleries of expression. He was surrounded by art, a maelstrom of hues and shapes that threatened to swallow him whole. Yet amidst the cacophony of color and form, one artist commanded his attention. Marianne, the wild-eyed sculptress, once a patient of the very asylum they now stood in, was a whirlwind of frenzied creativity. Each chisel stroke was a symphony of passion, carving intricate patterns into lifeless stone. There was a tremulous fear in her, dancing in her pale eyes, a silent scream that found voice in her work. He observed her, the seasoned detective within him, seeing beyond the artist. He noticed her hands trembling slightly, not with age or infirmity, but from a consuming inner turmoil. He watched as she worked, her every motion both a plea for help and a stark denial of the same. The unfinished sculptures, grotesque and beautiful in their aberrance, echoed the same conflict. Venturing to engage her in conversation, he found Marianne a creature of enigmatic charm and disjointed thought. "The voices," she whispered, fingers idly tracing the rough edges of her latest creation. "They live in the stone, you see." Her revelations about the asylum's past came in riddles and half-tales, her mind straddling the precipice between the mundane and the mad. Her tales were of nocturnal rites, of cryptic symbols hidden in innocent brushstrokes, of how the chorus of echoes had whispered in the shadows. Her mention of the cult left an aftertaste of dread, a disquieting resonance in the echoing halls of the asylum-turned-studio. His investigations led him from the lofty studio to the underbelly of Richmond. The dank, shadowy back streets provided a stark contrast to the artificial glamour of the studio. His investigation unfolded like an eerie nocturne, shrouded in the darkness that lay beneath Richmond's facade. Here, the cult's presence was tangible, not whispered in vague hints, but proudly displayed. Graffiti etched onto ancient brickwork bore uncanny resemblance to Marianne's sculptures. The city he thought he knew was revealing itself to be a vast, intricate puzzle, every piece echoing the same name, the Chorus of Echoes. With each discovery, he felt a shiver of terror, not for himself, but for the spectral figures of his lost siblings. Their voices, once whispers, were now a loud, echoing cry. The echoes from the abyss were growing louder, the veil between his world and the unseen thinning. Each echo was a chilling reminder of his journey, one that was gradually morphing from a simple investigation into a dance with the unknown. As he fell asleep that night, his dreams were haunted by the cult's symbols and Marianne's erratic narratives, coalescing into a horrifying tapestry of madness and intrigue. When he awoke, the echoes had followed him from the abyss of sleep into his waking world. As the sun rose, he prepared himself to delve deeper into the woven shadow of Richmond's underbelly, into the labyrinthine heart of a city concealing a cosmic horror beneath its mundane visage. The echoes from the abyss were growing louder, each one pulling him closer to a reality that threatened to shatter his understanding of the world and himself. Little did he know that his dance with the unknown was far from over, and the stage was being set for the grim harmony of oblivion that awaited him. The labyrinthine streets of Richmond slowly revealed their secrets to Leon, each revelation a thread, subtly leading him into the heart of the city's concealed terrors. As he traversed the grim alleyways, their shadowy recesses whispered tales of cult gatherings, of eerie incantations that hung heavy in the midnight air, of the invisible hand of the Chorus of Echoes that subtly orchestrated the city's seemingly innocuous art scene. On the surface, the art community flourished, a vibrant panorama of creativity and expression. But beneath its colorful facade, the cult conducted its operations, their practices layered with an aura of eccentricity that shielded them from prying eyes. Each artwork, each masterpiece, was a cryptic chapter in their unholy scripture, silently resonating with an otherworldly rhythm. Marianne's words echoed in his mind as he investigated, the tangled narrative of her insanity now seeming less like delusion and more like prophecy. Her sculptures, once disturbing anomalies, now felt like eerie milestones marking his journey into the unfathomable depths of the woven shadow. The trauma of his past, the specter of his siblings' loss, became a constant companion, not a hindrance but a beacon guiding him through the chaos. His loyalty to their memory, his open-minded acceptance of the abnormal, and his selfless dedication became the pillars supporting him amidst the disorienting whirlpool of the case. The cult's influence, so subtly weaved into the city's fabric, became undeniably clear. He found himself ensnared in their web, but instead of struggling, he allowed himself to be drawn in, pursuing the truth with dogged determination. Yet the deeper he went, the more the line between reality and the fevered tales of Marianne blurred. The detective within him questioned the sanity of his pursuit, but the guilt-ridden brother pushed on, led by the haunting whispers of his siblings. As he found himself standing in front of a massive mural, a chilling representation of an indescribable cosmic entity hidden within the chaotic dance of vibrant brushstrokes, he realized the horrifying extent of the Chorus of Echoes. They were not merely a cult, they were the custodians of a cosmic secret, the knowledge of an ancient entity that threatened to shatter the very foundations of human comprehension. His resolve, once unyielding, wavered. Yet he remembered his siblings, their unseen presence a reminder of his vow, and his dedication was rekindled. The echoes from the abyss were becoming a symphony. The woven shadow was becoming a reality, and he was standing at the threshold of a terrifying revelation. As he prepared himself to cross the final line, he felt the world around him shift. Richmond, once a familiar sanctuary, now felt like a stage set for a horrific cosmic performance. As the woven shadow deepened around him, he stepped into the heart of the unseen, unknowingly opening the final chapter of his journey. As Leon walked into the heart of the cult's grand exhibit, a surreal performance masked as an art showcase, the mundane world faded away, replaced by an unfathomable reality. The studio, once a beacon of creativity, had been transformed into a vast ritualistic stage, each artwork an eerie hymn in a symphony of the unreal. The voices of the chorus of echoes rose around him, a haunting cadence that seemed to resonate with the very fabric of existence. The participants, enraptured in their blind devotion, danced to the rhythm of the ritual, their movements a grotesque ballet beneath the watchful gaze of the cosmic entity depicted in the massive mural. Drawn into the terrifying spectacle, he could do nothing but watch as the boundary between his world and the unthinkable cosmos was worn thin. His senses were overwhelmed, the looming cosmic horror reflected in the ritual's every facet. The culmination arrived in a dreadful crescendo. As he was drawn into the heart of the ritual, he felt the chilling touch of the cosmic entity. It was a feeling of absolute insignificance against the backdrop of the infinite universe, a sensation that dwarfed his grief, his guilt, and even his identity. His world, once so defined by the quest for truth and justice, was unraveling into a state of chilling oblivion. The cryptic horror he had pursued had now consumed him. The echoes from the abyss had quieted, and the woven shadow was now his reality. In this climactic moment, his death did not come as a sudden jolt, but as a tranquil acceptance of his insignificance in the grand cosmic dance. He found himself spiraling into the harmony of oblivion, leaving behind the mortal plane. The echoes of his siblings' voices seemed distant now, a faint serenade that gradually faded into silence. The final curtain fell on his tale, not with a heroic victory, but with a quiet submission to the cosmic truth. The image of the grizzled detective, once so grounded in reality, dissipated into the ethereal mists of the cosmic oblivion, his existence an insignificant speck in the boundless universe. His journey ended not in triumph or defeat, but in the haunting revelation of the unseen cosmic truth, the essence of all that is incomprehensible and horrifying, the embodiment of cosmic horror. Leon's office sat vacant, a fading testament to a man who dared to challenge the unseen. But within the silent corners of the city, the whispers continued, the echoes from the abyss forever resonating in the harmony of oblivion. Thank you for tuning in. If you enjoyed our content, show your support with a like and subscribe, and stay notified by hitting the bell icon. Expect more cosmic horror from Eldritch Tales Factory, and feel free to explore our other stories. See you in the next video.